disaster risk management to closet consultant and now founder of a fashion tech startup, a Japanese woman wants us to rethink how we wear our clothes and at the same time wants to give women convenient access to other image and styling consultants. She hopes that eventually she can contribute to preserving the earth. Hello and welcome to Season 4 of the Womenpreneur Asia podcast, and I'm your host, Krista Gun. I'm also an entrepreneur, author, marketeer, storyteller, and connector. Each season, I curate stories and journeys of Asian women entrepreneurs from India to Japan who are open enough to talk about their businesses. These are real conversations with everyday women in business across Asia. This episode is brought to you by Redbox Studio. Today's episode is with Eri Kobayashi, who is the founder and CEO of Ripplenity Incorporated, a fashion startup in Tokyo, Japan. Eri's story starts in the most unlikely of places, Singapore. That's where she was living for 10 years before she returned to Japan and where she started her first business. Here's something fun that you may not know. She can even speak Singlish. That's Singapore English for those of you who don't know what that is. We spoke about fast fashion or fast retailing, Eri's prior work in Bangladesh, and how her grandparents and Japanese heritage influenced her business. Beware, you will not look at your clothes the same way again. Now let's get started. Before we get started, where are you physically located?
I am currently in Tokyo. I do a lot of stuff, but my current job is running a platform of personal stylist.
And how did you get to this stage of your life?
I have so many things to tell, but if I could summarize in one short words, I thought this has to be done, basically. And I thought I'm the only person, maybe in Japan or maybe in the world, I don't know, but that something I could do.
Is it something that came from, just say, a very personal belief about what you saw around you?
Exactly. It's coming from my personal belief and then also coming from what I have experienced myself. So I'm currently working as a personal stylist or image consultant, whichever you prefer, with the corporate executives or those people who's running their own business. My clients are mainly female, and I assist them so that they will look better and then they feel confident about themselves. That's what I do. And I've done so when I was living in Singapore. Maybe we should talk about this a bit later. But so when I was living in Singapore, I also used to visit my clients' place and even take a look at their closet, and then found out they have, let's say, a lot of clothes. We all have tons of clothes as females. But we still say, I don't know what to wear in front of
nothing to wear.
Yeah, nothing to wear. Basically, yeah. Yeah, so 2 questions. I don't know what to wear. I don't know how to wear them. So that's where we come into. So we assist them, basically will look better, but not just suggesting from the off the shelf clothes, but also suggesting their existing wardrobes. You try to utilize what they already have, and then but mixing them in a nicer way, or that will fit into their body shape or maybe personal color, so that they will look better in that way.
And I'm sure that went to something else, right?
Right. So it was a person-to-person business, and I have started this platform, as I mentioned earlier. That's where you can find your online personal stylist on your smartphone. So it's a matching app, but it's not only a matching app, but through that app, your dedicated stylist could suggest what to wear for your daily occasion or based on the weather. Well, maybe it depends where you live. So it's like having a personal assistant for your image strategy on your smartphone. So you don't necessarily meet the person, but your dedicated stylist will suggest your total look based on your schedule for that day. It's literally head to toe. So if you're wearing a scarf, if you're wearing the earrings, we advise or we mix the total image for you from head to toe.
And you did mention you were living in Singapore. So I'm
Yes.
sure being in Singapore, the weather would dictate the clothing.
Indeed. Well, I have to be honest with you, it was much easier in a tropical weather deciding what to wear because you just want to feel comfortable. But yet, if you're a corporate and working for a corporate or if you have in your own business, you still need to look decent or maybe even professional. So to do that, you don't want to layer too much, but you need to that made you decide what to wear or even ponder, oh my God, what should I wear for that specific occasion? Should I wear a jacket or is it too much? Or should I wear a heel or maybe it's too much? You don't know. So that's how you can have easy access to your personal stylist online.
How did you transform yourself from being an image consultant to someone who's starting a matching app platform?
So after I came back to Japan, I thought, again, working as a personal stylist myself. Then when I look around, I realize though the service itself is getting more, I wouldn't say it's not common yet, but it's more famous, well, getting some portion of the acknowledgement by the business community, but it's still a limited number of people who's using the service. So I thought first, as a user, let's say just as a user, I thought they need easier access to those stylists. So that was one thing. And when I look at the stylists themselves, they are also having a little struggle looking for their clients, of course, and then trying to build the relationship with their clients. Because usually our service will be conducted in a matter of maybe, I don't know, an hour to two or so. And well, if you could continue your service, maybe you may go for a shopping cruise with your clients. But basically, your relationship will kind of ends there. And then sometimes I did wonder, like thinking about my past clients, I was wondering, how she's doing. I wonder how she's, feeling about their looks now. So I wanted them to have a longer relationship with their clients also, so that they can build something better even. So that's where the idea of the platform came in. And also, it was also actually coming from my actual client's voice. They told me when I visited their place and showing them how to mix and match certain items. They say, "I wish you can come here every day," but I can't physically visit them, right? So I thought, well, I did. Like I used to prepare a sort of digital lookbook for them, utilizing their own wardrobes, but it doesn't really necessarily match their schedule. It could be raining and you don't want to wear a specific, you want to wear specific shoes for that occasion, but you still need to look good in your business setting. So I wanted to have more real-time suggestion and making that app as accessible to everybody from both ends, and also you make it as a tool for them to receiving the total outfit look, and also even providing or suggesting from the stylist side.
So what has been your clients' response towards this app?
I am very happy with what they are telling me about. They say, whoa, I never thought of this combination. It's like a serendipity in your wardrobe. It's like you go for shopping, and you kind of come across with something you like, but you actually purchase the item because you like it already. And now you can enjoy it for the second time or even the third time because your stylist will, suggest something different from what you will usually wear that particular item. So she's kind of enjoying like double, triple times for that. So I'm really happy for it. And also, since your stylist will have the access to your digital closet, um, she can, it's like a kind of, you having a bird's eyes, and then she can kind of see things outside of the box. So you might have forgotten something. Let's say I might have forgotten, let's say, a scarf that I had, or maybe my husband gave me before. But since you register that in your digital wardrobe, she can actually utilize it and suggest, hey, you can use this scarf for that occasion. And then you have a sort of good feeling about, oh yeah, I could finally wear this. I could finally get this used. So it's and of course you don't need to go for shopping that often anymore. And you have a good feeling about yourself, like being or having a ethical choice for yourself.
And right now, how can people access the app? Or is it just for Japanese women at the moment?
At the moment, the app is only available for Japanese market, though it's available both for iPhone and Android. And I am really hoping to expand this service to basically all over the world who need such service. And well, since I happen to be in Singapore like almost 10 years, like my immediate area or goal to visit will be South Asia or Southeast Asia. So hopefully, I will introduce that service to you.
Great. That sounds good. Does it also take into account the fact that, for instance, if I see something that I like and I bought it online, can I just put that into the app so that it has like an inventory of my clothes?
Yes, you could do that. And even before you purchase the item, you can ask your stylist, hey, I'm thinking of getting this one. What do you think? And then she can even suggest, or she can kind of, propose like using that items. If you can use this one with that skirt, you can use that one with your pants or with that jacket, for example.
That's amazing. At least then you can have a bird's eye view too of what you have.
Yes, that's true.
Otherwise, you have tons of clothes, but as we always say, we have nothing to wear.
Right. Yeah. It's just because you tend to wear it in the same pattern, and you kind of feel bored, or you feel maybe it's not fresh anymore to you. I mean, it's more like a self-assurance sort of mentality, I think, as a woman. But I think we do have that kind of thing. Like, I can't wear the same dress to my same occasion to my friend's lunch. Though maybe no one cares, but I don't know
realizes.
Right? We think like, I can't get your interview with this dress anymore, right? I mean, if I ever have an interview,
it's always a very female way of looking at things. Like, I can't wear the same item twice.
Right.
Even though it is really, maybe people don't notice as much as we think they do.
Right. Yeah, but at the same time, it is very true. You don't want to wear the same one on your weekly meeting, for example. At least you want to show a different looks of yours, a different size of yours. Or maybe if you're dating, especially, you want to show him or her, different side of yours too. So that's also could be a good opportunity to try that service.
What are some of the ideas or plans that you have for your app, which I think is a fantastic way to allow women to have more choice in their wardrobe?
So what I'm trying to build upon from here is, well, as I said, like I definitely want to expand as a region-wise, and I'm also hoping to have the function where we have this sort of swapping function. Because your wardrobes is already on our system, so it will be easier for us to kind of categorize them or put them based on your size, for example. So I'm hoping to have that kind of either resale or like swapping service on that app.
That would be so cool, because sometimes you just don't know what to do with your own clothes.
That's also another pain, isn't it? Like, it's easy to buy, but it's hard to say goodbye.
Yeah. And it's always easy to say that even though you don't wear it or you don't fit into that item of clothing, there's still this hesitance of giving it away or selling it.
You definitely feel better if someone can take it from you, right? It's like, hey, this actually looks good on me, so can I just have it, or can I swap it with something else?
Yeah, a swapping will be the next big thing. So now let's talk about your years in Singapore, because I think you've mentioned it. in the early part of today's interview. So let's talk about what were you doing there in Singapore?
Well, my husband's job brought me there, and I happened to be pregnant with my daughter then. So that was the very first time in my career that I stopped working and being a stay-home mom. And while she was regular, demanding baby, I still had the feeling that I wanted to do something, or basically I wanted to make myself useful to others, or at least I wanted to do something to contribute to my society. And so then I came across with this magazine that tells us how to revisit your closet. So I did that because I was just wanted to do something, and so I did that, and I felt good about it myself, and kind of saw myself like looking into a different directions, or maybe towards a new direction by just reviewing what you have, in your closet. So I and I studied about how to do that basically, and I started working as a stylist eventually. That's how I spend my days in Singapore. And at the same time, because of my previous career before I moved to Singapore, I also had a project in Bangladesh, visiting there every other month for a total of almost 3 years there. So I had like two type of business cards that I kind of hand out.
So when you were balancing these two roles, was it difficult for you to market yourself?
Well, it actually gave me a good space or mind that I was not too worried about my business itself. Well, I was a sole proprietor in Singapore as a personal stylist. And when so I could basically make myself busy with my Bangladesh project when I'm back, or if I want to, I could put more focus on my marketing for being a stylist in Singapore, and then, make myself use of it. So I like the idea of me controlling my life in what I had at that time. And I was also busy as a mom. And I actually found it good for me. It was better for me that I had options to focus on. If I had one job, for example, I could have just not enjoy as much as I did.
And I think when we were talking much earlier before this interview, you did mention something about Bangladesh that touched your heart.
Yes.
And kind of gave you the idea for what you are doing right now. Could you tell us a little bit more about?
So I was with JICA at that time, and we were having this disaster risk prevention project there. That's what I used to do before I moved to Singapore, and a little bit even after I moved to Singapore. So that project was about it has a big theme, but my role there was to engage the local community to be prepared for the possible or future natural disaster. And to do that, I worked with the local community or local municipality or schools there or local leaders there. And the project itself was fun and very something new to me, working in a different culture. So that was interesting. But at one point, we had this garment building collapsed. It was back in 2013, and more than 1,000 people have died because of the collapse. And it was so cynical because we were doing this disaster prevention project, which was actually against earthquake. So we were actually that time transferring our expertise from Japan, how to retrofit the building so it will withstand the potential earthquake there. So while we were putting our hearts trying to retrofit or make a public building stronger for that potential disaster, another building collapsed at the same time. So I felt so no matter what we do as from the scope of, let's say, we kind of say international assistance or humanitarian assistance, no matter what we do from that end, if the economy itself lasts as is, basically that building was dedicated to creating or making fast fashion. So I thought there has to be some change for that. So that actually the most critical moment for me in my life to kind of led my idea towards the current platform. And it wasn't actually not only that garment building collapse, but since because of that incident, there has been a lot of international attention to those factories or working conditions there, and we have a lot of investigations and or checkups of the, let's say, even the fire alarms, for example. And during the process, I've came across like few smaller garment buildings that had the fire incident, and I also had some visited actual burnt buildings where I heard the people working there couldn't escape from the building, and I basically had a lot of like sad stories there. And so that was something I have experienced on my like foot and hands and my hearts there. And after I've gone back to Singapore visiting my client's place, I see these clothes hanging in there without no bad intention. My clients never thought, hey, I just want to buy anything I want. It was not like that. She bought because she liked them, but just because we've been marketed too much, or we've been kind of, well, I wouldn't say manipulated. I shouldn't say this, but we are maybe wrongly sometimes encouraged to buy a lot or buy new all the time. And I see this incidents in Bangladesh where the clothes were made, and I see sort of I would say, I kind of sometimes call it tomb of the clothes, which is like my closet. Like if I couldn't make them, be utilized as much as I want. So that's how I kind of started this. And I really wanted to change the people's behavior, but in a fun way. I just want to tell them, hey, this is what's happening in the world, so you shouldn't go fast fashion. I do sometimes buy fast fashion if I need to, or like I didn't want to preach them by saying, hey, you should always buy a secondhand clothes or anything like that, because sometimes we're all different, and we have the right to enjoy who we are. I just wanted to give them a sort of another option or different options to enjoy how they dress themselves and how they feel confident about themselves in a fun way.
Do you tell them about your experiences in Bangladesh?
Not necessarily. I don't think I should always mention what I went through, because what we are trying to do is already making them feel comfortable, or no, not even comfortable. It's more like confident and motivated for their work. So I can always talk about the benefit of getting some advice from the professional. So that's already a good benefit for them. So, well, of course, if I were asked, I would be happy to share, but I don't need to necessarily share the sad stories. So, but thank you for asking. It's always nice to keep myself kind of reminded about how I started, why I started, and where I am now and where I want to go.
Yeah, because I felt that story was interesting in a way that it tied into what you're doing now. Even though probably back then when you were working in Bangladesh or doing projects there, you didn't think that, oh, in the future, I'm going to do this app. I'm going to create this app for women so that we can stop buying fast fashion or be part of that problem instead of being part of that solution, right?
That's true. It's like, so I had my grandparents, my tree of my grandmother, it's still there at my hometown. And my grandparents' generation, they have experienced the world as our two, because we were living in the same time now. So they had difficult time during that time, basically not having enough stuff for themselves, even food. So it's kind of hard to imagine nowadays, like we had that war kind of thing. But I heard so many stories from them directly many times, and how hard it was, how hard their life was that time. So I've learned they look after things or items or clothes in a very particular manner. They don't buy stuff immediately. They are very considerable what they take in, and also once they take in, they even fix it or mend it, or so that they can wear it longer. And I've noticed, like after my grandfather passed away, and when we were going through kind of clearing his the wardrobe, I realized he still kept his new shirt for the special occasion. Maybe these are something I gave him, or maybe as a present, or maybe his children gave him, but he just didn't want to wear it immediately, but rather wanted to keep them for a special occasion, or for maybe some other time, or once he's worn out what he has that time. So he was. So my grandparents' generations are like that. And since you mentioned, like we still wear kimono, and kimono we used to actually hand it over to generation. I do have kimono from my grandmother, for example, and my mom inherited some of my grandmother's kimono, for example. So it's been worn, let's say, after maybe 100 years, or it could be even longer, right? So we have this things kind of installed in our cultural, heritage, maybe, that we try to keep stuff in a particular manner, and then we try to keep it preserve it as long as we can. So we have this spirit. In Japanese, it's called mottainai. It's like, it is direct translation would be it's such a waste if you throw it away right away, or if you don't use it, or so we just have this sort of appreciation towards a thing, towards a dress, or towards a glass. For example. So I think that's also installed here in me. And if you might have also realized, if you like to shop, and if you have a lot of clothes in your wardrobes, they don't get worn out very easily, because you rarely wear them, right? So that makes it even harder for people to discard. Yes. So right. So, but at least I want you to feel good about yourself, like wearing them or trying them out once again, or maybe 2 other times. Then you will feel, okay, I think this is maybe not a good fit for me right now. It might have maybe made me feel good, but I'm grown up, so maybe this time I need to move on. And I wanted to make yourself sort of like understand, or fully confident about your choice, even discarding your items or your clothes.
What are some of the bad recommendations of things that people or women, we're talking about women and clothes, right? What should women not do when they're thinking of buying a new item of clothing? Or what should women...
Okay. Yeah. That's something that I've been asked quite often, so I can always answer. Don't buy things impulsively. That's definitely a number one. But at the same time, I want you to trust your own feelings like, oh, this is the one. But which is also good that you have that kind of feeling. But also try not to buy stuff just because your shop staff recommended you, because they also have their job to sell the items. They may not necessarily lie to you, but you also need to feel confident about your own choice. Oh, okay, this looks good on me, so I should get it, or this will complement what I have, let's say. Yeah. So therefore maybe I should buy it. So I want you to have a reason to buy that one, buy particular items when you go for shopping.
So don't buy impulsively and don't rely too much on the shop assistant telling you that it looks good on you, even though maybe it doesn't. And they may not be really telling a lie, like you said. It could be just
they're not.
They want to encourage you. They want to encourage
they basically encourage you to try new thing, which is a great thing. But if you're not so confident about, then you may not. It will be difficult for you to mix and match different type of clothes which you collected from different shops or different times, because there's for example, fashion magazine, those models or those even people who are there look always good because it's been arranged by some professionals. That's why it looks good on them. But when you actually open your closet, you might have something from 3 years ago. You might have something from just the boat that you bought from like last week. The trends are changing, especially for in fashion industry. The trends are ever changing so fast. So sometimes if you don't have a confidence, or if you don't have, or simply if you don't have time, it will be difficult for you to mix and match stuff, even time wise. So, and let's say then there will be a combination of the material, the combination of the color, shape, occasion, total look with your shoes and the bag. That will actually, if you start thinking of making yourself look perfect, it will actually take a lot of time or efforts from your side. So that part, we thought we can take it from you and then, just bring you the solution on your smartphone.
And that will help you get through that big headache, right? Of what to wear and how to pair it, or what colors.
Right.
At least you have someone you can ask on the app.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're not saying you can't do it, or we professionals are better or anything like that. It just, we've been doing this quite often, so it'll be much easier for us to do it for you. That's the only thing. And yeah, we can then maybe you can relax in the morning over the cup of coffee when you're frantically looking for what to wear instead. Or maybe you can talk to your children more relaxed manner, so you don't need to feel like rush about yourself.
That's really a good way to really rethink, right? I mean, instead of spending all that time just trying to figure out and not even knowing whether the outfit that we put together is the best one that makes us look good and confident, at least we now have an app to rely on. Right. So let's now talking about your app. How did you first market it? Because of course, apps, there are plenty in the market, right?
Yes.
How did you have those early days? Were they tough? And how do you overcome those challenges of marketing it?
Okay, I'm still going through these early days. I'm still new to this. And partially it's also because the COVID situation, I needed to sort of postpone some of my PR activities or marketing activities also. But at the very beginning, of course, I always started with my friends or my past clients who could have been interested. And I also have a specific sort of target persona, I would say, that who may benefit the most out of the service. So I targeted these people, marketed these people. Also, like our current users' voice are a very great help for us, because they are the one who kept using the service and thankfully appreciated that the service, and they are, without even asking from my end, they are happy to shout about it. So that's, I think, how we are starting right now. And I can't really say I have overcame that one yet, because I'm still in the middle. I will say for the marketing side, I kind of just started, and especially like for the app, for me to develop the app took me a while. Why I had that concept, so that's also one thing. And But I'm hopefully this year, I can do a little more activity, PR activity or marketing activity for this. And well, also recently I have very famous client who came to know our service, and she just started using the service, and to see how how things will change or how things will expand through her also.
Was it difficult for you to get the development of the app started? Because I know you're in styling and image.
Yes, I'm not an engineer myself.
Yeah, you're not a programmer.
So I worked with one engineer mainly. He mainly did the development, but it was difficult to actually design what I really wanted. I needed to compromise some of the function or some of the UI or UX, but I think that can be improved, in the time, in a due course. And so, but whatever you're doing is like, we only have the MVP, minimal viral product, which is really not fully, well, it's functioning, it is itself. That's why we have the clients coming back or keep using it, but it's still like not there yet for me. So for me, of course, while I'm gradually expanding the clientele, I want to improve the UI, so that it will be easier for the users to use that everyday basis.
Was it hard trying to translate your vision into an app?
What I did was basically I communicated in an image base. So I drew. I didn't really drew on my hands. I will use the app to basically design the app. But so I mostly share my ideas through image, so that he would understand what I try to say also, or by just seeing where the buttons are, that kind of tells, like, that will kind of translates my sort of ideas why the buttons should be here. So it was tough, and it will be difficult, I think, still, but it'll be an interesting journey. And the good thing is I can always incorporate what the users are saying to me. They tell me, hey, do you have this kind of function, or can we do this? Can you provide me this function? Then because of this reason. So they always give me the really, really good feedback. So I'm happy for that. And I have so many want to do list for my app.
Want to do.
Yes, want to do. It's not to do, I want to do. Yeah.
So it means there are additional features and functions that are coming up.
Yes, additional and maybe improvement also.
And that's the beauty of having a product like an app, right? It's never finished in the way that you think is, like, for instance, like a dress. If it's done and it's sold in a shop, it's done, unless you decide to redo that dress or redesign it.
Right.
But an app is always a work in progress. So you know that you can always add on once your user base is telling you that they like certain features or want to add in certain things that they like. Yeah,
true.
That is good. That's also very brave of you, from someone who has no background in programming, to undertake a task like creating an app and making it available for others to use.
That's the thing, because no matter how hard I work, the number of the client I could reach is so limited. And actually, this is also from my experience, but I truly believe in the power of the stylist, or existence of the stylist, what they can offer you. Because I think I told you, like, when we were first talking, but I myself has changed a lot. You wouldn't believe if I show you my photos like 10, 15 years ago.
Really?
Maybe I will share it secretly.
And why this a lot? Why this different, all this big changes?
Well, when I was younger, I was a little bit chubbier side. So I didn't basically pay much attention to what I wear. But of course, when I start working after my graduation, like, at least I spend a decent attention towards it. And I wouldn't say I look horrible. I hope I looked decent that time. But the most terrible time of maybe my appearance was maybe when I was actually pregnant. because you know what? It's not only the weight I gained, but it's just the clothes I chose for thinking it could be good for my baby that time. I chose fluffy linen dress, which is so bulky in my body. And the color choice I made that time was just so bad. I had one particular photo when I was pregnant and I look horrible in that particular dress. The color, the material, the shape. And I always compare like that particular photo and maybe my recent photos because I look so different. Like I was like much younger then, but I even look older in a way. I look more like auntie. So that really told me people can change depending on what you wear. I wouldn't think if I stayed in that fashion, which I didn't know. I just chose just based on the fabric, thinking it should be good because it was organic linen, and I thought it looks good on, it sounds good on your body, right? When you're pregnant. But if I stayed in that fashion, I don't think I will be here. I don't think I'll be speaking to you. I don't think I've never met you. But because I've changed, because there's one point that I've realized, like, you can change yourself even from outside. Of course, your inside will kind of try to catch up with that look. And through that journey, you will gain your confidence and you will gain your self-esteem, maybe because your friends will say, hey, you look good in that, or you look good today, or you look, hey, what happened to you recently? You look just so different. So that kind of gives you a lot of self-confidence or maybe even the motivation to get going. So I've experienced myself at my very first hand that you look different or you can change with what you wear. So I was hoping to share that with my clients. And then I realized, okay, I can't just keep doing this because I can't support all the other women, but I have other stylists who are doing the same thing. But if they could sort of utilize their sort of power, a collectiveness or collective, force in that sense, I thought we can change things.
That is also something that is very empowering for other stylists, because perhaps they may know that they have limited time in a day, but they also have all these women who want to work with them, but they probably can't even reach them, like from location to location. Perhaps you have to travel, and I don't know how it is, but even in Malaysia or even Singapore, I'm sure traveling takes time.
Right.
No matter how small a place you live in, it still takes time to get to that place, right?
Right.
So that itself shows that now you can access literally anywhere, any stylist.
Right.
That's good news for women. Yeah. So that's a good outcome from where you were in your organic linen many years ago.
In a floral print dress.
Yeah. So all these years, whether you were working in corporate and now you've started your business and doing your business now, you're doing it full time, right? Since you've been back in Tokyo.
Right.
What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about, running, starting and sustaining a business?
As a woman, I think in a way it's easier to start new things without worrying too much about your roof and the bread, basically. Well, that's helped me one thing. But also I realized it could be sometimes hard for you to fully concentrate on your business if you have other responsibility or other, I would say, social expectation. Like me as a Japanese woman, a Japanese mom, some people would expect me to be fully attending my children's education, for example. They may expect me to run errands for your house because we don't have maids in our country, basically. We don't have the access to or helpers, domestic helpers here. Though the services are slowly growing, that you can ask for a part-time service. But so your house chores are basically handled by you or any other adult in your family member. That could be most likely, if you're married, that could be your husband. And we do have this sort of social norm that men working, female keep the house kind of concept. So if you have the passion, if you think you want to do something, if your, let's say, your house or if your environment as a base is not, I would say, set up or organized yet, it will be difficult for you to go start working outside or even running your own business. Let's say if your children are not, well, maybe it also depends on the age, but let's say even if you have a decent age children, but they're not, you didn't educate them enough to organize themselves or tidy them up, it'll be difficult for you because you will need to look after themselves all the time. If you didn't have the housekeeping system, let's say, your family member will keep constantly will be asking you, hey, we're going to find the scissors, we're going to find this and that. And you are the one who will need to answer all the questions. And also maybe you are the one who need to put them all back into where they were. So there is a minor house chore that is not even counted, but those time that you spend for that, it kind of kills your own time for your business. So I've also learned from other working female that it's really difficult for them to do so because of that social norm, or maybe because your environment is not set enough. So that's also one thing I think it needs to be mentioned and need to be improved. But at the same time, we do have the, I would say, good helping hands. We help each other. If you're in a similar industry or if you are doing the similar, in the same circle, definitely you help each other. And then we love to introduce good stuff to each other. So there's a good human connection there, or even the business network there, I would say. So I've never lived in Tokyo myself. And I started this business totally new. I've never done any business in Japan. I was coming from this disaster risk reduction industry, or whatever you call it, industry. So I'm totally new to this, but I always have someone who I can talk to if I come across any problems, or if I want to, let's say, do a kind of ideation with them. So I'm so fortunate to be in this circle, and maybe because we're a limited number of female that is doing their own business, it'll be easier for us to be connected. So I'm very appreciative for that.
Cultural aspects do play a role in what we do, and slowly, hopefully, things will change.
Yes.
Was it different for you if you when you started in Singapore? Would it have been different?
In terms of the demand, maybe it's different because it was under the tropical climate. It was much easier for us to choose our outfit, I believe. But once I'm back, people are more conscious about how you are seen. But that's also, maybe it could be a cultural difference too. And also we have season right now. I can't just go out like this. I need to wear a scarf. I need to wear a jacket or coat. And then I have to decide which one should I wear, right? What color of the, let's say, stockings that I should be wearing, which boots, which shoes should I wear, right? So that makes, in that sense, so that will actually makes a big difference there between Japan and Singapore.
Is there a personal goal that you're focused on besides your business?
When I actually look back, no matter what industry or no matter what business I was in or which organization that I was with, I always wanted to make myself to be useful to the others. That's actually how I've been brought up by mom, especially. She always told me like, be someone who can help others when they need help. So that tells my kind of character or personality. So when I was even a very first time mom in a foreign country, I still wanted to, go out and, help others to look good that time. And I will definitely wants to continue how I want to be, how I am. And I think it will not go away from me. I may eventually choose to do something else after this, but I am sure that will relate to something to make other people happier, or, hopefully to make even change. I can't really give you a big mouth, but I'm hoping to change, let's say, a society for that. And what I believe is like what I'm doing eventually will take us to a better option for when you actually think about our global when we actually think about the future of the earth. We talk about a lot of like environment or like stuffs here and there, or so hopefully my service will also lead to that, preserving the earth and all this.
And what is an unusual habit that you have?
Unusual habit?
Yes.
Well, that's a fun question. I like. Unusual habit. I have I have two, I think. I have very good green thumb. I love to look after the plants. And I can't show you right now, but in around early May, my tiny balcony will be full of rose. That's one. And I also have a very good like carpenter's arm, I would say. Ooh. I can fix stuff. I can sew, and I can knock stuff, and I can even build my own cabinet. That's maybe something out of
that's highly unusual. Yeah, I never expected that from you.
Well, I would say I was just creative. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, then what's the craziest thing you've ever done?
I studied in South Africa, Johannesburg. From there, I flew to South America when I was like 21. It was already crazy for my parents, me living in the African continent, but I even went on to another continent that I've never been to. And I did so alone, and yeah.
Okay, so let's do a quick one now. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Definitely.
Favorite animal?
It's hard to tell, but I have a cat right now. I adopted one in Singapore, but since we decided to leave the country too soon for the cat's vaccination, I went to pick her up by plane. It was a stray cat that I adopted. I asked my friends to look after her. I got onto the plane, and then I flew just for her.
And best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made?
Here I've been more practical, like my current apartment in Tokyo. It was super expensive, but I know it's worth it.
And finally, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram. I wonder if you could put the link there, but I'm more active nowadays on the Instagram. So if you can find me, it'd be nice to just please send me a message, and I'll be happy to follow you back too and communicate with it. That'd be nice.
Thank you, Eri. I've had a very interesting conversation with you. Like I said, when we first got on to this recording and this interview, I wanted to highlight some of the things you've done, but I also want to tie into some of your personality, your beliefs, and the things that you really want to highlight. Not just starting a business for the sake of starting a business, but you have something bigger than that, and that is hopefully the listeners can see that it's not just about the app, right? Not just about the styling or the image.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that with all of us and for enlightening us about a couple of concepts that are very important these days, from fast fashion or fast retailing to how we are all impacting the earth in our own ways.
I see.
So thank you so much, and we'll see you again.
Thank you so much, Christina, for this opportunity. It was nice talking to you.
I knew fast fashion was a problem, but I didn't know just how big that problem was. In fact, this episode made me rethink my clothing choices, and it's a good thing. My next aim is to be a more considerate shopper and buy clothing that I need and those that I can mix and match instead of anything that catches my eye. In view of what's happening in the world today, I believe it does start with each of us. Personally, I've been composting kitchen waste, recycling as much as I can, and reusing whenever I can. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, or better still, get on my email list so that I can keep you updated about other exciting things in store. Next week, you will hear from Linda Low, who loved her childhood food so much that she turned it into a thriving business. She even learned under 5 different chefs so that she could get the taste and texture just right. Join me next week as we uncover Linda's business.